What's up guys, Brown here, and today's tutorial we are going to learn how to create a scroll animation using Blender. So let's just get started. Alright guys, let's first start with the handle. So Shift A and add a cylinder. Now rotate it on Y-axis by 90 degrees. Now let's go to top view, edit mode, and move it on. Let's first scale it down to a value like 0.2. Now let's go to edit mode and move it on X-axis, something like that can be fine. Now let's take the face tool. Now let's select this face like that and extrude it on X-axis. Now press E and S to extrude it. Now E to extrude it on X-axis. Maybe press E to insert the face, extrude it on X-axis. I to insert the face, extrude it on X-axis, so that we have something like that. Now press Ctrl B to add a bevel. You can roll the middle mouse button to add additional segment. Now let's take the H tool. Now hold Alt and left click. Now Ctrl B to add a bevel. Let's do the same thing right here. Same thing right here. Perfect. Now let's go back to object mode, right click and shade auto smooth. Now let's go to edit mode. Press A to select all. Now let's add a mirror modifier. Let's mirror it on Z axis. Let's enable a clipping. Now let's move it on. Sorry. Let's move it on X axis. All right. Let me enable the overview. Now let's go back to edit mode and move it on Y axis. Something like that. Now let's go back to object mode. Shift A. Let's add a plane. Rotate it on X axis by 90 degrees. Now let's go to viewport display and let's displace it at Y. Now let's select our cylinder. Let's add another mirror modifier. On Z axis, make sure to select a plane for mirror object. Now when you select this one cylinder and move it, you have this movement. Now Shift A, let's add a plane. Let's go to top view, edit mode, select all and move it on Y axis. You can hold Ctrl to snap it. Now let's scale it on X axis so that the plane cover our handle like that. Maybe a little bit more. Now let's press Ctrl R to add a loop cut, mini loop cut like that. Maybe on this side. Now let's go back to object mode and let's add a mirror modifier. Let's mirror it on Y axis. Now let's maybe scale it on Y axis, something like that. Now let's first enable a curve extract object on add-on curves. And make sure that a curve extract object is able. Now Shift A and let's go to curves. And now let's go to spiral and take this one. Now let me first move myself like that. Now let's open this panel and a number of turn. Let's put a value like 4 and scroll and radius scroll. Let's put a value like minus 0.04 and on radius let's put a value like 0.3, sorry, 0.3. I think 0.3 can work. Now let's go to object mode, rotate it on y-axis by 90 degrees. Let's go to side view, select all by pressing A and put it somewhere, something like that. Now let's select this vertex and extrude it on y-axis. Something like that can be fine. Now let's go back to object mode. Let's first save that. Now let's select our plane. Now let's add a curve modifier. Let's select our spiral. Make sure that a curve modifier comes before the mirror. Now for the deform axis, let's choose -y so that we have something like that. Now when you select your spiral and move it on y-axis, you have something like that. But now it is going on the wrong direction, as you can see right here. Now let's select our spiral and go to edit mode, select all, right click, and let's go to switch direction. As you can see now, it is going on the right direction. Now let's select our plane. Let's go to edit mode, press A to select all, move it on y-axis. Let's see what we have. Let's go to edit mode, move it on y-axis. Let's see that. Now we have what we want. Let's select our spiral, move it on y-axis so that we have something like that. Let's go to side front view and move it on z-axis, and let's move our cylinder something like that. Maybe let's move it on y-axis so that we have something like that. Now let's select our plane, right click and shade smooth it. Let's go to edit mode, and maybe let's just extrude it a little bit on Z axis by pressing E and Z to add a little bit of thickness. Now we have something like that, and that is pretty cool. Maybe we can do that later, not now. Now the one problem that we have right now is that when you select your spiral, you move your object and the handle doesn't follow. So let's make that follow. Let's select our cylinder, select the spiral, and now press Ctrl P. Now go to object. Now when you select your spiral, move it on y-axis. As you can see, the handle is followed, but it is followed on the wrong direction, and that is not what we want. So let's cancel that. Now let's select our cylinder and move it on y-axis, something like that. To let's just switch the direction of our handle by moving it on y-axis. So now let's select our cylinder, hold control and select your spiral. Now Ctrl P, now object, now select your spiral and move it on y-axis. As you can see now, it is working, and that is pretty cool. Now one problem is that when you move your spiral, you can see that weird movement that we have, and that is not what we want. Now let's limit the location of our spiral by adding object constraint. Let's go there and add a limit location. Now let's first select it and move it on y-axis so that we have something like that. For me, I want my short animation to stop right here. So let's go to our limit location and let's check all this axis like that. Now on maximum, let's increase it, and on minimum, let's put a value like 0.1. Sorry, 0.1. Maybe 0.09 or 0. Let's go 0.5 or 0.2. As you can see, guys, we limit the location of our spiral on 0 to 4 millimeter on y-axis. Or maybe let's add let's select our plane and add a little bit, maybe a subdivision. Let's add a subdivision. Alright guys, now let's select our plane, press tab to go to edit mode. Maybe let me put. Alright guys, now let's go to edit mode, select all, press Ctrl R, and let's add a loop cut right here. Let's add one loop cut right here like that. Maybe one more right here. Now let's press A to select all, E and Z, and move it on Z axis, so that we have something like that. Maybe let's first Alright guys, now let's make a simple keyframe animation of our spiral. So let's select it and enable extract tool. Now make sure that you are on frame 0. Now press I to insert keyframe on location. Now let's move on keyframe like 40. Now let's move our spiral on y-axis, something like that. And now press I to insert keyframe on location. Now press T and choose linear, so that we have this animation. Let me enable extract or enable the extract tool, so that we have something like that. Now let's add a material, open another split. On this one, let's go to render view. Let's add environment texture. Now let's hide environment texture. Now on this one, let's go to UV editor, select your plane, press tab to go to edit mode. Now let's create a material. Let's go to material and create a new one. Let's create a new one more time and name it maybe front. Assign it. Now let's go to base color and let's add image texture and let's open it. The link is in the description so that you can use the same. I'll give you these 3 image texture on the description so that you can use it. For me, I will just choose that one. Make sure that you are on top view. Now press, let's go on top view right here. Now press U and go to projection from view. Now let me maybe move. Now press U and go to projection from view. Now press A and rotate it on Y by 90 degrees. Scale it so that we can match this. Maybe let's enable subdivision surface. Guys, just match as the best that you can. For me, something like that, it's okay. Let's tab out on object mode. As you can see, we have something like that. Maybe I can use this. Let's change the image texture. Let's take this one. Let's tab out to go to object mode. So you can see we have something like that. And now let's go to edit mode. Now press Ctrl I to invert the selection so that we selected this face like that. Now let's create another material. Name it like you want. I will name it front 2. Assign it. Now press Ctrl number pad 7 to go to this side view. Now press U and choose projection from view. Now let's go to base color, image texture, open it. Now here let's choose this image. Now let's press A and select all, scale it. Let's try our best to match, scale it on X, move it, scale it, so that we have something like that. Let's go back to object mode. As you can see, we have something like that. Maybe now let's go back to edit mode. Let's press Ctrl I to invert the selection, and now let's move it a little bit on Z axis. You can hold Shift. Now press Tab to go to object mode. As you can see, we have something like that. Let's close all that. We don't want it anymore. Let's go to render view. As you can see, we have something like that, and that is looking okay. Let's go to render, color management, make sure that filmic is checked. Now let's go to high contrast. Now let's select our handle. Now let's go to material and put a simple red material. Let's make it metallic. Maybe a little bit of roughness on that. Alright guys, now finally we have our scroll animation in Blender. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning Blender. I'll catch you on my next tutorial. Bye bye.